This is Behind the Mic with Brad Dalius.
Behind the Mic, live from Patrcik Molloy's here in Hermosa Beach. Brad Dalius and Keith Jackson hanging out on this Tuesday evening. That's right, Behind the Mic is live on a Tuesday evening for the first time as we kick off our first 3-day week here of the program. Great to have you with us. Great to have you listening online, BehindTheMicShow.com. If you haven't done so yet, download that official Behind the Mic app and be sure to check out our podcast on iHeartRadio. It is great to be here, Keith, at Patrcik Molloy's. Great atmosphere. I've been coming down here just a few times. I'm still fairly new to the place, but service is unbelievable, as we've witnessed here so far before the show. Yep. Good food, that's key for any sports bar, especially for Behind the Mic, and good folks here in general.
Oh, it's great, especially the Taco Tuesday, the chicken and the carnitas and the fish and the steak. I mean, hey, I had all 4 of them today, so they were excellent. Don't forget, the deviled eggs were phenomenal.
Those are good too?
Oh, yeah. I'm already on my second ginger beer. I love ginger beer, but it's great here. It's
something
great.
New I learned. Yeah. I didn't know that one.
This is my second one. It's great, but, like you said, it's a packed crowd today. It's a lot of people here, great atmosphere, good people, and everybody's helpful here. So I am so glad we are a part of this on Tuesday nights.
Taco Tuesday, as you said, Keith, every Tuesday here at Patrcik Molloy's. The cool thing is that you can mix and match. You got chicken, fish, carnitas, steak. Also, $20, only $20 for Corona or Pacifico buckets. You can't beat that, and half off all tequilas.
One thing I may have to get, I won't be on the show today, but it's going to be for sure, I'm going to do it one day, is the pineapple margaritas for $7.
Ooh, there you go.
It is awesome. I've had it before. It's awesome.
Well, obviously it goes well with tacos.
Oh, of course. Get your margs, please. Get your margs, people. Get your margs.
Hey, we got a lot to go over tonight as we dive into the world of sports on this Tuesday evening, April the 17th, 2018. Where do we begin? Well, first off, I got to give you my thoughts on last night's Warriors-Spurs Game 2 up there in Oakland. This was a very typical Warriors victory, Keith, you could say. Once again, they show why they're the deepest team in the league, but it's not just the depth with Golden State. Yeah. It's efficient depth. It's not just guys who come off the bench and can score, as we saw last night, but they're able to do it efficiently, and they shoot a high percentage from the fields. This is nothing new, but once again, for them to kind of flex their muscle here in the playoffs, it tells me that the regular season, again, it reinforces the fact that it doesn't mean a whole lot.
It doesn't.
It really does not. It's a whole new season once you get to the postseason. We saw that last night. Thompson was on fire. McGee was strong for them as well. West was good. The list goes on.
Yeah, well, it shows you just the amount of firepower, how deep they are. It doesn't matter what seed they were coming in, and they didn't care. They knew that they can beat anybody in the NBA. Their team can beat anyone. And they're not taking the teams lightly, I can say that. But what you start to see is certain people step up in different games. You start to see that experience kick in, and they're saying, okay, now it's go time. It's time to really kick it into another gear. And that's what you see from this Golden State Warriors team this year. They're on a mission to win another championship. That's what they're there for, and they're going to do it. What's interesting to me, let me tell you what's sad? It's sad that the Spurs played their best ball. They played great ball. Any other team they played against, if they fell into a different seed, they would have won last night. The Spurs would. as well as they played, they still lost. And that's the thing about Golden State. They can have room for error, but they have so much firepower on the offensive end that it's very hard to stop that team. There's no one stopping Kevin Durant. Let's just be quite frank. There's no one. No one. You can and the problem is you can't double up on them, because then when you double, you got Klay Thompson on the other end. And then you got Draymond Green. And then you got these guys, JaVale McGee starting to step up. Livingston, like you said, David West yesterday stepped up.
Pick your poison.
And then you go off the bench, and I mean they got firepower coming off that bench as well. So to me, look, I think the Spurs gave their best shot, but when it comes down to, look, they got Steph Curry coming back next round. We know there's going to be another round, and I think it's just they're a force to be reckoned with, and you can't stop them. And it's going to keep going. It's not going to throw the timing off or anything like that. I had a conversation with someone yesterday, and I want to get your opinion on this too. And you guys out there, if you could chime in on this, it would be great to call in on this.
213-261-7491, 213-261-7491.
My question is, can Klay Thompson go to another team and carry another team the way he did yesterday? He had 31 points. I think you had Kevin Durant had 32. But can Klay Thompson go to Dallas Mavericks or to a Charlotte Hornets or to another team and be effective the way he was with Golden State?
No.
Or is it a style of play? And my argument was no, he can't. Just ask Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes was a great addition to the Golden State Warriors, but when he left and went to Dallas, he was mediocre, and you haven't heard really anything about Harrison Barnes.
No, you haven't. This is the first time in a long time.
I think it's best that, because his contract's coming up as well, that Klay stays in Golden State, and I know he's happy there as well, because the fact that the style of play and how they play is why I say that's why it's a great fit for him. And you say no, and why?
The culture. Look, even before Steve Kerr was hired to be the head coach of the Golden State Warriors, there was already a culture in place with the young guys. After Steph got there, Draymond Green, they already established a culture that was going to withstand a lot of different things. As you're seeing right now, it can withstand injury. It can withstand your head coach going out for a long period of time due to personal health reasons and such. It can withstand a lot of different things. That to me is culture. That's has gotten everything going there. That's what stirs the drink there. Okay. The depth is what stirs the drink. No, I do not believe that a Klay Thompson, you could just pluck him out of Golden State and put him on another team and he could have the same success. That's like saying you could take a Matthew Slater in New England, take him off that special teams and put on a special teams in Baltimore, and he would have the same success. It would be different. He's a talented player. Talented players are always going to have that with him wherever they go, but he's not going to be scoring 31 points. Yeah. It's not going to be the same thing. That's what's unique and special about Golden State and what they have there, and that's probably why they're going to have an excellent opportunity to win the championship again this year.
Yeah, totally. And let me ask you this. Iggy. Does Iggy deserve an extension? Does Golden State give him an extension after this season?
Depends on what the number's at, what he's looking for. If he's looking for, how old is he now?
Let's see, Iggy's 30. He's got to be, 32?
Yeah, I was going to say early 30s. I would give him
a year.
Yeah, maybe 2.
2 years.
I could negotiate to 2 years, but it just depends, like I said, on the figure and what it is. I'm not going to overpay, because why would I if I'm Golden State? As I just mentioned a moment ago, they have so much depth there, and it's efficient depth. It's effective, where everyone is on the same page and everyone is doing what they need to do. They're doing their part to be able to be successful for the whole team. So if I'm the front office of Golden State, I'm like, yeah, we would like Iguodala back, but at the end of the day, it's next man up mentality. That's where they're at now. It's like a dynasty in the sense of a New England and a San Antonio as they've been over the years. I don't think they need to bend over backwards, sort of say, to get him to come back. At the right number, at the right amount of years, absolutely. But again, when you get to the point where Golden State's at, no one's above the team, and everyone's replaceable.
Yeah, that's true. And one thing about that team is that they're going to restructure Kevin Durant's contract at the end of the year. That was something they were discussing earlier.
Yes.
So
now, he might opt out.
He might opt out, but they're restructuring. They're opting. Well, he's opting out so they can restructure it. So I think he'll be. Kevin Durant's not going anywhere. Let's just. He's happy where he is, and that's going to happen. So, that's, to me, that was interesting. Watching that team play, and I was like, man, really? Like, that team's on a whole nother mindset of, like, we want to be like a Laker. We want to be like a dynasty. We want to run, like, we want to basically run the whole 2000, this new millennium or whatever.
Absolutely.
And that's where they're at right now. And they're capable of doing it. I don't think there's no one stopping them. So, unless, LeBron James goes to Houston next year, and then maybe they can contend with that. But I don't know, man. It's going to be tough to beat a Golden State. If they keep that team intact, it's going to be tough to beat them in a series. Not in a game, but a series. So it's going to be interesting. It's an interesting thing to talk about them. So
give us a call at 213-261-7491. I agree. Last night showed me that, as you said earlier, Keith, San Antonio cannot play too much better than what they did last night. They know that. Pop knows that. I know that. You know that. Everyone knows that.
And we talked about this off the air, just to chime in about that, is that...
And Golden State, as they mentioned on the broadcast last night, Golden State has struggled in San Antonio. Yes. I get that, but how many of those games was part of the regular season? Yeah. Throw that out the window. That doesn't mean anything to me, honestly.
You have to feel for for the Spurs because of this Kawhi Leonard situation. We had talked about this off the air just a few minutes ago. And to me, you got to part ways from Kawhi Leonard for the simple fact that he doesn't even go on the trip. He's not on the bench to cheer on his teammates. He's not there. He's going to rehab himself over. Well, if you're going to go rehab after the season, then just do that now. You're going to New York to go rehab, and you're not going to be there with your teammates. That's just showing me his separation. He's trying to distance himself from the organization and the team, and he wants to part ways.
It's not a good look.
It's not a good look on his part. And I'll tell you, it's not a good. Let me tell you what else is. It really isn't a good look for him for many reasons, not just for that. But whoever's going to pick him up, it's going to. You have to think about that for a minute. He's a great player. He's arguably the best two-way player in the game right now. We can say arguably the best. And at one point, people were saying he was the second best in the NBA. A
lot of people picked him to be their MVP favorite at the beginning of the season.
And let's be realistic. If Spurs will not be a 7 seed if Kawhi Leonard was playing, they'll probably be a 2 seed. Let's just be quite frank right now. So, with that said, I just think that it does raise an eyebrow for a lot of the other teams out there who's wanting to get him because it really questions him as his character. That's what's really questioned. It's like Popovich is a Hall of Fame coach, and and he's been very professional. How he's taken this whole situation, in terms of how when media ask about Kawhi Leonard, he's not throwing him under the bus. He's not saying anything, that's going to harm his career or anything like that. And he's kind of leaving it into organization's hands, saying when he's ready, he's ready. So with that said, I mean, I get the whole people saying that Popovich told Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. Well, that's what Steven Jackson supposedly thinks is Popovich told them to go do that. And if he did, and he didn't, whatever. If he did, he probably did to other players. Could probably relate to him, or I don't know. Maybe that's the case. But the fact remains is Kawhi Leonard. I think the way he's going about doing this is just all wrong. I think you ride out. You finish what you start. That's the whole thing. You finish what you start. You there, fine. You got hurt. You upset with the organization, but you're still there for your teammates. It ain't your teammates' fault you got hurt. Your teammates are still there for you. They're not dogging you out in the media, you know. So, I mean, I think you got to be there for them throughout this whole process. And then after the season's over, you make your decision what you want to do. But dissing yourself right now, that's a distraction with his own. You know, I think that's a distraction with his own. But, you know, they've been playing well. The way Marcus Aldridge played last night was phenomenal. Manu's trying to play his heart out. You know, Tony Parker's came off the bench last night. You know,
he had Rudy Gay.
Rudy Gay playing out of his mind. You know, he came off an Achilles injury last year. Everybody think he was going. I like Rudy Gay playing for another contract.
Of course he is.
He's playing to keep a job in the NBA, and he's doing a phenomenal job. They may re-sign him. And then you got a point guard. Help me out,
Patty Mills.
Patty Mills.
Yeah, he was phenomenal last night too. You're right. Look, it's become very, very clear to me that Kawhi Leonard will not be a San Antonio Spur in 2019. That's become abundantly clear. And it just gets more complicated and complicated. I feel that, Keith, at this point, it's going to get there's going to be more things that are going to be revealed about this. It's going to get a little uglier in the sense and I think both sides are at fault here. I think both sides are. Originally, San Antonio dropped the ball with the misdiagnosis, and now Kawhi is not playing this the right way. Like we said, it looks bad. It's not a good team image. He's in New York. He should be there unless he's in bed. Unless he's bedridden, he should be there. If the doctors are allowing him to travel, he should be there for his team. I completely agree with that. He's checked out, Keith. That's really the bottom line of this. He's totally checked out. It's obvious. Pop is a class act, so he's not going to say that. Although you may hear some grumblings from some other players on the team, as you've already heard some of that. Ultimately, he's just not going to be there. I don't think you can repair that situation at this point because, number one, not everyone's on the same page about it.
No.
People still don't understand fully what's going on, I feel. And it's just going to continue to get more complicated. That's my take on it. He needs to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And he needs to kind of reboot his career. He needs to take all these distractions, whatever they may be in San Antonio, and leave them there. And he just needs to move on. Continue to work on getting healthy this summer, sign with a new team, and then start his career somewhere fresh next season. I think that's going to be the best route for him at this point in time.
What team, now you know where I'm getting at with this thing. Do the Lakers pick up Kawhi Leonard after you see this whole situation goes down, the way things are going on? Is this something they have? Because if you look at things, Julius Randle's about me. That's pretty much how he is. Let's say it the way it is.
You don't like Randle? I thought you were an advocate for him to stay with the Lakers forever.
Absolutely.
I must have missed that one.
Absolutely not. That's just the type of player he is. And he's going to go. He's contract time. Do the Lakers go out and get Kawhi Leonard after this, or just any team? Like, what team should go out there and grab Kawhi Leonard? At the fact that what's going on right now, what teams do you think should go out there and grab him? And should the Lakers be one of those teams?
Yes.
Do they take a risk and do that? Because it's either that or re-sign Julius Randle, and I don't think that
doesn't do much as a Lakers fan. The purple and gold enthusiasts at this point, they've seen everything with Julius Randle, and that wouldn't be an earth-shattering type of thing. Yeah, we're going to forget about Kawhi, not really target him. And our big offseason move to Lakers fans, this is what we're going to do. We're going to bring back Julius Randle. That doesn't do much. That doesn't drive anything. No. I think you have to at least pursue Julius. The Lakers have to be in the mix this summer with everything. At the end of the day, if they don't land LeBron, Paul George, etc., it's okay as long as it was out there that they were trying to really persuade these guys. If they're sitting back, and I don't think this will be the case at all, they've already established the fact that they're going to be heavy swingers. Magic has talked about that. Pelinka has as well. It would be an extreme disappointment if they just have a laid-back mentality this summer. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to be extremely aggressive. I don't know who they're going to get, Keith, honestly. I don't know if they would be able to get Kawhi. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. It really just depends with free agents, when they're looking at the Lakers, if they can truly envision this team being a championship caliber squad in the next 2 years. That's really what it comes down to. Can they envision themselves playing alongside Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma? That's really, to me, that's what it comes down to. Kawhi, though, specifically, I think the Lakers should absolutely be aggressive. They have to do their due diligence, obviously, and see how injured he truly is, because we still don't really know.
No.
And that's why he's rehabbing right now, and we'll see as time goes on. But they have to at least inquire, which they will. Another team, it would be interesting, maybe Portland.
Yes.
Maybe the Trailblazers.
That will be a good idea.
We'll get to them in just a second and how they've played so far against the Pelicans in this first-round series. But when you watched Portland-New Orleans the other night, outside of Damian Lillard, there's not too many options. If he's cold, the team's cold.
Yeah.
So maybe that would potentially be a good fit. If Kawhi goes there, that would be very intriguing. I think he sticks to the Western Conference. I don't think he goes east unless someone makes him a very enticing offer, obviously, that he can't say no to. Maybe that would bring him to the East Coast. It really depends. This is going to be a true question mark. He is kind of the ultimate wild card here as far as this. This, to me, is the most intriguing storyline of the offseason in the NBA to come.
Of course. I think it's that.
It's got to be.
It's got to be right now, because it's really, the whole thing it leaves question marks to everybody. It's like, what's going on? This is. But they got to remember, Kawhi Leonard's been unhappy. I've said this many times, but it's true. He's been unhappy for about 2 years now. It just wasn't being covered a lot. You know, it was said that he hasn't been too happy. So I can see something. Something's going to have to happen this year. It's going to over the summer. It has to. So we'll see, man. We'll definitely see what's going to happen with that situation. It's just an interesting topic about that series, the Warriors and Spurs series. And
does San Antonio defend home court at all? Can they get a game down there?
They're definitely going to make a push. They're going to make a push. I think the game will be a lot more be closer, but at the end, I think Golden State pulls it out. So it's a must win for the Spurs, or it's over. Let's just call it what it is. But I don't think they can play as better as what they did, man. They played their tail off. That place is going to be rocking down in San Antonio. They're going to be there for their team throughout the whole thing. It's going to be interesting to see this Kawhi Leonard. Is Kawhi Leonard going to be there to sit the bench and watch the team? That's going to be interesting. That's going to be a story within itself. And but look, if he's not there, I think he's out of there completely. He's lost the fans out in San Antonio. He's lost pretty much everyone out there. And I think because just like you leave your teammates high and dry. But on a situation of winning the game, I think they play for 4 quarters, but they make some mistakes and they're eventually going to lose that game. So we'll see.
I think Golden State sweeps them at this point. I think it's just too much. I don't think they can play 48 minutes. They can play a half, as we saw last night, but not 48 minutes.
Well, I'll say this. It's best that Golden State goes out there and try to get it done immediately, because the New Orleans-Portland game should go 7.
It looks that way.
We'll see what happens tonight in the next 5 minutes, how they start off and how Damian Lillard comes off. But I can't see Damian Lillard having another bad game at all. I can't see that happening. But it's going to be interesting to see. I think that's going to be a battle within itself. But it's best that Golden State tries to get this series over immediately. They get Steph Curry back. They can start get some reps with him and some practices with him, with the team, and get their flow and things going like that. So I think that's what's really on their mind right now. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. We see Washington-Toronto lost. I guess Washington lost again in Toronto. That's pretty bad.
Got to give Toronto credit. It was tough. They had that crazy record where they lost like a million straight game ones in playoff series.
True.
They finally broke that, obviously, in game one of this particular series, and a lot of pressure on them, especially with all the talk. They're hearing it. This is a year that the path is paid for them to go to the NBA Finals. With LeBron and Cleveland struggling, with the Indiana series, which we'll get to in just a little bit, and also Philly just being a young team, this is Toronto's year, seemingly, to come out of the East. So there's a lot of pressure on them. I think they showed a lot in Game 1 to pull out the victory, and then here in Game 2. Washington's been a huge disappointment this year, as we've talked about, but still, there's talent there, and they're a formidable 8th seed.
Yeah.
So to me, this was an impressive start for Toronto. Any win would be a good win for them. It would have been different for Golden State, different scenario, but for Toronto, for a team that's just trying to break through for the first time, just to win the first 2 games will do a lot for their confidence.
Yeah. I'm just not a believer in Toronto, man. Like, look, the thing with them is Kyle Lowry, this series right here, let's call it what it is. John Wall is coming. John Wall has been the locker room skunk, right? Everybody has pretty much came out and said on that Washington team that they like when he's not playing in the game because the ball moves a lot better. I believe Gortat or someone, Bradley Beal or someone has said that. I believe so.
It was probably Gortat because the two of them were entrenched in that Twitter battle earlier this year.
Yes, Gortat, and they said the ball, but I think also Bradley Beal came out and said the ball moves a lot more when he's not there. And I think that, yes, I'm quite sure that did happen.
Should it be any surprise, though, Keith, why they did drop to the 8th seed and why they had a disappointing season? With everything you just said right there, all the stuff that they're bitching about?
Exactly. And you see that, and I think it does. They would start winning some games, and then they were used to playing without John Wall, and then John Wall comes back, and then they start to... They're okay. Don't get me wrong. John Wall is a great talent in the NBA, but he's not liked, and that's the issue. And I think that's the big issue when you start playing with players. Is players, in basketball, you got to also be liked. They got to love you to want to play with you, and they're gonna be with you the whole way through. And I think with that series right now, it's a lot of. Just a lot of things going on outside of basketball is why that team, because Bradley Beal and John Wall could be such a better talent. I mean, they could be arguably one of the best in the NBA. And they got Kelly Oubre who's out there, the Morris boy, they got Gortat. They got a talented team. They should not be an 8th seed, Brad. They should not be an 8th seed.
That's what I'm saying.
And that just starts to think, like, why is that? There's something more. Did the coach lose the locker room? Or what's the case there? But they really need to figure that out because this series is going to be over very quickly. I think it's going to be a sweep.
When you give up 130 points, it's not looking good.
Exactly.
Unless you're Miami.
But on the flip side, Toronto, you're giving up 119 points. Defensively, you can't do that to be a number 1 seed. You got to really lock down. That's no defense.
It's playing down to the opponent.
Yeah, and exactly. That's what I'm getting at. That's the issue. That's the problem with Toronto. You hit it on the nail. They play down to their opponent where their opponent has an opportunity to win. Other better teams they play against will have an opportunity to win, and they will win that game. So that's what you got to look at. Like, hey, that Pacers team out there, that Pacers team's going to be tough. Oladipo's playing. He
looked fantastic. I think that was the best game I ever saw him play.
Yeah,
ever.
But let's look at it like this though. Not too many Pacers games have been covered out here in LA.
No, and not just here, across the country for that matter.
Exactly. Paul George left. Nobody's talking about them. They're playing like, hey, we're still good, and they're playing like it. And I've never seen a team play defense like that. I didn't think they could play defense like that. They play some great defense.
It was really impressive. How about Cleveland fans taking a page out of Philly fans' book, booing them during the game?
Oh, God. I think Cleveland got a little spoiled.
They did.
They got a little spoiled. LeBron James.
Yeah, they definitely did.
LeBron only could do so much, and he's got a bunch of young players on his team. You got the Tristan Thompson ordeal off the floor. And
look, it should be a rule. You can never boo a team that's got a player who's won you a championship.
Thank you.
You can't do that ever.
Yeah, you can't.
Ever.
Nah.
Just ask Phillies fans. Phillies fans will never boo Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, or any of those guys on the 2008 World Series championship team. Why? Because they won.
Exactly.
And you shouldn't boo.
Exactly.
You shouldn't boo.
You shouldn't. And let's call it what it is. LeBron James' contract coming up. If you want him to stay, you do not boo. Like, that's just one thing you just don't do. Like, LeBron, everybody wants LeBron. And, they got a little spoiled thinking that, he's going to do it again. It's going to be tough, man. It's not an easy task for LeBron this year because he's really all by himself. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of his rookie year. When he was a rookie, remember they went to the championship, though? But it was just him. And it was
against San Antonio.
Yeah. It was just solely him. And
this team might be a little better than that team.
They may be a little better.
A little better, but I see where you're going with it.
But he's the only one out there really with the experience. JR, he's on and off, and it made me think after seeing the way Dwayne Wade played the other day. Was it the other day? Yesterday. That made a mistake by giving up Dwayne Wade.
I was going to ask you about that, and to go off of that one, did we maybe overvalue some of the guys that Cleveland received? Not the guys who exited, but the guys who came in, like Jordan Clarkson. Did we overvalue those guys? Because you saw it in Game 1. It was just one game, but still, in Game 1 against the Pacers, like you said, it's LeBron, JR, and there's not too many other same cast of characters from the championship game or team a couple years ago, and even from the team last year. Jordan Clarkson, nice player, but this is prime time now for him.
Yeah.
And some of these other guys, too. I don't know if they're quite ready for it yet.
You hit on there. They're not. They're not ready for it. They've never been in this situation before. And it's new. And you got to people don't understand. These NBA players, there's 82 games in the season. These guys pace themselves. They don't, and I'm not saying they take off steam, but, well, they do sometimes. That's why sometimes they rest. You see what happened to Golden State. Golden State, yeah, they said the guy was hurt, but he had a little baby bruise, an owie, but that was it. Sit out. All right, cool. I'm going to sit out and rest my legs for, we're going to get to the playoffs.
They can afford to do that.
Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance, these guys never been to the playoffs before, and the guys who have, they know what it takes. They take their game to another level. They show why we're in the NBA, why we're pro. And those guys, this is new to them. They go all out. The younger guys go all out in the beginning of the season because they want to showcase that I belong here. This is why I get paid. This is I do belong here. They're finding their identity. But these NBA guys, these guys that get to the playoffs, it's what they call post-season players. When GMs start picking up players, they're like, well, JR is a great player, but is he really a postseason player? I had my questions about James Harden for a while. James Harden, great season player, right? For years, NBA candidate right now. For years. But for a while, I was like, well, he's not good enough. For 2 years straight, he wasn't good in the postseason. He just disappeared. Everybody was like, where's James Harden's heights at? So James Harden started to step his game up to realize, like, look, I got to show up in the postseason. Why? Because that's when these guys really get their money and start discussing contract. Postseason players. And that's what Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance has experienced now. They're like, look, that's a complete NBA player. Not a half NBA player. Every those guys are, that's not a complete season they playing. You really know what these players are about when they get in the postseason, how they perform in the postseason. So I look at it as Jordan Clarkson's he's a good player. He's going to help you some nights and night out. But when it comes to the playoffs, it's a whole nother level. It's a whole nother level of play. You're in a different category. And sometimes it can be overwhelming.
And this goes back to the importance of a Kyrie Irving, and it's the result of trading a player like his caliber away.
Yeah.
It's going to leave a huge void. LeBron spoils that team because of his ability to make up for so much.
Exactly.
But maybe, just maybe, Keith, it might be a little bit too much for him to overcome to get back to the NBA Finals for an 8th consecutive time. It might be too much. I'm not willing to say that yet. I still like Cleveland to come out of the East.
I've told you.
But I've entered into the realm of possibility of it. Based off what it was one game, I don't want to overreact from one game, but when you blow a team out like that on their home court, that's pretty telling. Victor Oladipo walked into that game a man on a mission. I wasn't believing it, but at the end of the day, they really came out on top.
They did. Well, they're playing inspired ball on top of that.
No one thinks they're going to win the series, so that they have, it's them against the world mentality.
They are.
And you have to respect that.
You got Steven. You got Steven.
Lance
Stevenson out there. Getting in LeBron James' head. Messing with LeBron. Everybody loves what he does, and even LeBron just shakes his head every time he sees him. What kind of reminds me of? Lance Stevenson reminds me of. There was a guy in Portland they used to call the Kobe Stopper. Remember, they used to call him the Kobe Stopper. His name was, oh my God.
His name escapes us because he wasn't very successful at being the Kobe Stopper.
You know what's crazy?
That's the real deal.
I have his number in my phone, and I have it as Kobe Stopper. I forgot the guy's name. It's hilarious. But they used to
You forgot his name because he wasn't that good.
Yeah. When we go after break, I'm come back with that name. But it's hilarious because Porter. It's going to come to me in a second. Anyway, what I'm getting at is that Kobe was always this guy. They used to call him Kobe Stopper, and Portland used to always say he's a Kobe Stopper. And then Kobe lit him up for so many points. That didn't happen. And it's Lance. Lance seems the same way. He thinks he believes he can stop LeBron. And he does his he's not afraid of LeBron. That's the great thing about his game, and LeBron knows that. But LeBron's still gonna do what LeBron does.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, and that's what I'm saying. What the thing is about the team is not afraid of the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're really out there like, we can beat you. We're gonna show you we can beat you. You got to remember. LeBron, they had a chance at when LeBron and them went to the finals that way when they didn't have Paul George. Most of the players, they had Roy Hibbert at the time. They had a chance to beat.
Yes.
They had a chance to beat Cleveland, and it was to get a Game 7, and it was a heartbreaker.
They did.
And those Indiana fans are still hurt from that. So they're out there, they're ready. And they think this will be their opportunity right now.
It was just last season. That's what you were referring to, right? When those two teams hooked up, it was close. A lot of the different games, and that was overshadowed by the fact that Cleveland swept the series. Ultimately, I believe, or they won it in 5. It was short. So you bring up a great point, Keith.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting, obviously, when these two teams hook up for Game 2. Does Cleveland come out and do they start fast, or does once again Indiana come out and punch Cleveland in the mouth once again?
Yeah.
It's going to be fun to see. So as we said earlier, Toronto 130 over Washington, 119, 130, 119 victors for the Raptors tonight in Game 2. They lead that series 2-0. Boston defeated Milwaukee tonight. That one just won final before. They won big as well. Keith, talking about that series, we talked about Kawhi before. Should the Lakers pursue Kawhi? They absolutely should. But the guy I really want to see ultimately in purple and gold is Antetokounmpo.
Oh, of course.
I want to see Giannis with the Lakers.
Yes.
All Lakers fans should want that.
Kobe vouches for Giannis,
After watching Game 1 in Boston on Sunday, what he's able to do, he's like an Anthony Davis.
He is.
They're very comparable, I think.
They are. And that would be great to have him in the West to go against Anthony. I would watch that matchup all day. He is. He's a Greek freak. Like, the one thing about him, he can play defense. He's got to work on his jump shot, which I know he totally will. But, man, he just does some crazy things. You just look and you're like, wow. And I have to agree with Kobe Bryant. In a couple of years, he's going to be running the NBA. He's going to be the face of the NBA. If he's almost there, So, Giannis is a great player. They should not be. I'm sorry, with the talent they have on that team, they still should not be a 7. They're an 8. I believe they're a 7 seed. They should not be a 7 seed. It's just I can't. They're not a traditional 7 seed. You got Jabari Parker. You have Giannis, you got Thon Maker, you got Drew Bledsoe.
Eric Bledsoe.
I'm sorry, Eric Bledsoe. I said Drew
Bledsoe's playing basketball now.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Eric Bledsoe. You got, we could go down this. You got
they have Henson at center, Middleton.
Then they got the veteran coming off the bench, center. What's Not Drummond.
Henson?
Not Henson. No.
Oh, Zeller.
They got some great players on the team. I'm talking long. They're a long team.
They are.
There's no way this team should be. I don't understand. I don't see how of the amount of talent across the board that they have on this team. This team should not be down 0-2 against the Celtics.
Well, they haven't been consistent enough.
And that's the problem. That's the issue. That's what I'm saying. They got to get – I was going back to the front office. You got to get a coach in there who's going to be basically hard-nosed on these guys on execution, things like that. Because this is not a 7-seed. With the amount of talent they got on this team, this is not a 7-seed team by far. This is not a 7-seed team. So
I agree. There is so much talent there. Like we said with Washington, there's a lot of talent there as well. I really you got to love, actually, the future of where the NBA is going with the young stars right now. And it's a good thing that the wealth is being spread around. For example, with Anthony Davis on a New Orleans Pelicans team that is still a new franchise, has not really established themselves yet with any type of consistent success. You got to love that for that market. Damian Lillard coming into Portland, an organization that has for years searched the wilderness for a player like him. You got to love that, what you have going on there. And right now, and we'll see for how long, Antetokounmpo with Milwaukee and some of the young guns they have there as well. So you have to love that in these different markets. Washington, although disappointing this year, this is still a team with young talent, John Wall and company. So I think you really have to like that. And these teams, the arrow is going up for a lot of different markets with the young talent. So the game is going in the right way, and it's looking like eventually once LeBron does hang it up one day soon, because it's sooner versus later, the league's going to be in great hands, all these young stars. It's great to see, and it's on full display right now in the first round.
Oh, it absolutely is. This is probably the most watched in terms of first round basketball. Everybody's watching. It's entertaining, especially in the Western Conference.
It's a lot more unpredictable this year. Last year it was so chalk with Golden State and Cleveland.
You knew that, but the thing is, you don't know what's going to happen in the East. People say, "Oh, Houston can get Golden State." I think Golden State is actually showing people no, they can't. And you just never know. But I mean, you never know what can happen. We'll say that. I'm not punching.
You don't know.
I'm not punching my ticket in and saying Golden State is going to the finals. And hands down, there's nothing you can say about that's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen the next day. We just don't know. But their percentage is high. That can happen. But in the East, you just don't. It's really after they got rid of all those guys, all the stars from the Cavaliers. They got rid of Dwayne, Isaiah, Jay Crowder. List goes on. They've been doing some soul searching, and you don't know. You can't count out because the fact that they got LeBron, and LeBron's been there 8 consecutive times. But it's wide open for them in the East now. It's wide open. One man can't beat the whole team of pros. It's not happening. So we'll see what happens. We'll definitely see what happens. I think it's going to be a great series. These are great first rounders. I've been following every last one of them, and we'll see what happens.
It's Behind the Mic, and we're live for the very first time here from Patrcik Molloy's in Hermosa Beach. Come on down to the pier. Listen online, BehindTheMicShow.com, and download the Behind the Mic app to call in. 213-261-7491. It's 213-261-7491. Brad and Keith coming back for more NBA talk and a lot more tonight here on Behind the Mic.
Every 17 minutes, Make-A-Wish makes the impossible possible. They tame dragons. They bring Saturn to Earth. They help superheroes save entire cities. They even make unicorns fly. all to give children the strength they need to fight their critical illnesses. Every wish takes muscle. Help us make sure every wish comes true. Join us at wish.org.
Our military service members volunteer to protect us in the most dangerous places around the world. They step up. And when they are severely ill or injured, returning to their families is only the beginning of their long road home. Beyond all the hospitals and doctors and surgeries they need just to survive, they also deserve whatever they need to truly live. All the in-home care and day-to-day help they need to live independently, on their own terms. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs were established to provide these brave men and women whatever they need to continue their fight for independence, at no cost, for life. So many of them need us, and it's time for a grateful nation to step up. Find out how you can do your part at findwwp.org.
It took me a long time to be able to say Chandler has cancer, because that is such a scary word. St. Jude takes care of absolutely everything. And knowing that we don't have to pay for all of the medical expenses, that's huge.
St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce. And sometimes I'm just in awe of the impact St. Jude has, not only on this community, but the world.
St. Jude is uniquely positioned to advance the cures of pediatric cancer, I think better than any other institution in the world. The contributions make a big difference.
Donors are important to us because you get the feeling that you have a team behind you. We have the resources and we have the focus. And so if St. Jude doesn't do it, who will?
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Everyone is talking about healthcare these days. America spends twice that of other developed countries on our healthcare system, yet our health ranks near the bottom. How can we stop spending so much and getting so little? Shifting to a system based on primary care can help fix the problem. Patients with a primary care doctor live longer, healthier lives and are less likely to suffer from cancer, heart disease, or stroke. Primary care that is comprehensive and coordinated also saves money. Patients who have a primary care doctor spend 30% less on health care than patients who don't. States with a high number of primary care doctors have lower health care costs and higher quality care. Primary care can help make America healthy again. To learn more about the benefits of primary care, visit www.healthisprimary.org. This message is brought to you by America's Family Physicians.
You're listening to Behind the Mic with Brad Dalius.
Don't forget, every Tuesday is Taco Tuesday here at Patrcik Molloy's in Hermosa Beach. Come on down to the pier. It's Behind the Mic for the first time tonight, broadcasting live. Brad Dalius and Keith Jackson hanging out. As we continue to move our way through the world of sports, we were talking a lot of hoops before with the NBA playoffs continuing to roll along here in the first round. Baseball action tonight. The Angels are back after an off day yesterday, and after just miserable weather in Kansas City over the weekend, Keith, Ohtani was slated to start against the Royals on Sunday. Game got postponed. It actually worked out okay because it made for a great series opener tonight as the Red Sox came to town to start a 3-game set. Ohtani versus David Price. Two pitchers who, if the Red Sox are looking for a big year out of Price, and obviously we know by now Ohtani has just been phenomenal so far for the Angels, what he's been able to do. And so far tonight, looks like we were just watching before some of the highlights. He's already blowing the ball past a couple Red Sox batters. It is currently the 1-0 Boston, top of the second. We'll keep you posted, that game from Anaheim. The Angels, though, this series features two of the best teams in baseball right now, obviously with Boston and with the Angels, the two of those guys playing really well. And they just continue to move along here. Yeah. It's going to be interesting, Keith, because over the next 2 weeks, we're going to find out truly how good this Angels team is. Yeah. With this 3-game set against Boston, they play at Houston next week for a 3-game series, and then next weekend, the Yankees come to town for a series in Anaheim. So we're really going to find out just how good this Angels team is within the next 2 weeks here.
Well, we can say this. They're 13-3 right now, 4-2 at home. So, they're playing, at one point in time we were discussing about them making the playoffs. Well, right now they're doing much better than the Dodgers are doing. And I think they're, like you said, it was earlier, it's like, they're finding their identity. I think they kind of found it. They found a way. They know how to win games. They know how to pull out games. Ohtani's thrown so far, 56, 57 pitches tonight so far. And he's doing well. I mean, Red Sox scored again. It's 2-0. But for the most part, look, he's going to have great nights, and he's not going to have great nights. But the thing is, we've talked to several people even on this show. They said that they're going to work him in slow and, take their time with him. Personally, I think they just going to let him go. I think he's that type of player where when he gets his opportunities, when he's on that mound, he's going to be aggressive. When he's batting, he's going to be aggressive. He's looking to knock the ball out the park when he's swinging, and he's looking to strike you out every single time. He has a hell of a slider, and he's got a great fastball. But the way I look at it is that you just got to let him go. I mean, when you're playing teams like the Boston Red Sox or you're going to play the Yankees, that's the true test of your team, like you said. And that's the time to see, can this guy play with the best of them? So far, so good. But it really is, like you said, it's going to be interesting to see what they do against the Yankees coming up, knowing that they're another team that's supposed to be a team that's reckoned with, but they're having their struggles as well in the beginning of the season. Still early, but look, the Angels are having a great start. They're 13-3. They're 4-2. You got playing the Boston Red Sox team, who's 13-2, has a great road win, and 5-1. So, this is a true test for them.
As far as the boys in blue are concerned, 2-0, Dodgers on top of San Diego. The bats finally came alive on Sunday over at Dodger Stadium as the Dodgers were able to, behind a strong start from Clayton Kershaw. I tweeted out over the weekend, follow me on Twitter, by the way, it's at Brad Dalius, D-A-L-I-U-S. I tweeted that if there was ever a game in which they needed their ace to go out there to stop the bleeding, it was Kershaw and his start on Sunday, and that's exactly what he did. Strong outing from him. As I said, the bats came alive. They were able to beat Arizona. They finally broke the streak of losing like 10 consecutive games to the D-backs. It was crazy. They broke it. They moved on here. They took care of business last night in San Diego. They started this 3-game set against the Padres. I can't believe it, Keith. I had to double-check this today. As I mentioned to you off the air before the show tonight, the Dodgers are still searching for their first series victory of 2018, of any series. They're trying to do that tonight if they're able to beat San Diego. They've had a postponement or two here with some of the games earlier in the season, especially against the Giants. They split a short 2-game series against the Athletics last week. That's about it. They've been swept by the Diamondbacks. They've lost series 2 out of 3 to them. They have not prevailed yet in any series so far this year. So obviously it goes to what we're saying. It's been a slow start. The injuries are starting to pile up as well. Logan Forsythe is the latest Dodger to go down. He's got some inflammation in his right shoulder. They placed him on the DL yesterday. So they're kind of shifting Kyle Farmer over to third base. So he's coming off the bench. Dealing with injuries here at the beginning of the season. The key is they just got to weather the storm to get through it. You can't fall too far behind, and hopefully they can start generating some series wins here. The Padres is good medicine for that. San Diego's not having a good season. They're not projected to do much of anything this year. They should be able to beat this team. They should be able to sweep this series, honestly.
Yeah, they should, and we'll see what happens. But I think the most important thing is them getting ahead of Frisco. They're tied right now for third with them. You don't want to find yourself at the bottom of the barrel. And I think with the win tonight, that will put them a game ahead. They'll put them a half a game ahead of Frisco. And if they win that series, hopefully, they can move up and try to. Like I said, I think they just want to gradually catch themselves and get back up on top. I think they have the possibility they'll only be 2 games behind. From there, they'll probably be only 2.5 games behind Colorado. So, this series right here against the Padres can put them in a great position to find their way back into the top and then hopefully catching the Arizona Diamondbacks, who's been playing very well.
Who would have thought Arizona would get off to this good start? Really.
Exactly.
They have. This has been a season of surprises. Who had them? Who had the Angels being this good? Red Sox out in the American League East as well. This is a good thing for Major League Baseball. As we talked about last week, there's a lot of different cities right now. Baseball has a problem where they have too many markets that are just way too uncompetitive.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they need some of these teams who maybe weren't necessarily expected, as I said, to get off to these good starts, to be playing as good as they have been. I know that Commissioner Rob Manfred and the Major League Baseball front office, they have to be ecstatic about this Angel start. The story with Ohtani, he's got to be the story of the year so far.
Yeah.
And as good as this Angel team has been playing. So this has been really enjoyable to see during the first couple weeks of the season. Obviously with the Dodgers, let's see if they can try and stop treading water here and get out of the water, sort of say, and start running.
Yeah, right. Well,
we'll see.
It took them some time. It was a good game for Matt Kemp the other day.
He's been swinging the bat well.
He's been swinging it well, and
I still think they could use him as a trade chip to get more pitching.
I was getting there. I think that's interesting to say. Do they do that?
I think they have to.
I think they have to if they're still in this situation. I think they have to if they want to make a move. But I don't know, man. I think it all depends on what happens. They're trying to see if they can make a run, and we'll see what happens. With a new team, you put some new faces in there. It's really hard to start making a run.
It is.
So it takes some time. So and us LA fans are very impatient. We want you to start rocking and rolling from the beginning.
You don't say. You don't say.
So
I've only been here 2 years. I figured that out within the first 2 minutes.
Exactly, but we'll see what happens. I think the Dodgers. This is an important game for them today. So we'll see.
You looked at the rotation, and outside of Kershaw, they lost consecutive starts from him to begin the year. That was the first time that's ever happened with him here with the Dodgers. Outside of him, this was one of my biggest concerns, even when we did the season preview with Dustin Nosler a few weeks ago. It was the depth of the starting rotation outside of Kershaw. Wood has gotten roughed up a bit recently. Rich Hill is okay. Ryu has probably been their best pitcher outside of Kershaw so far this year. They got a solid outing from him last night down in San Diego. And this was a guy who, there was a lot of questions, could he give you quality starts in 2018 going into the season? He's proven that so far. It's been impressive. Like I said, I think he's been the best number 2, but they're going to have to add another guy at some point. If they really want to get back to the World Series ultimately, this current rotation as it's constructed, not good enough. You need more. You definitely need more, especially with such a big influx of bats in the National League. And there's as I said just a moment ago, you have so many teams playing so well, a lot of young, bright stars swinging the bats really well, not only in the National League, but in the American League as well.
Yeah.
You're going to need pitching maybe this year more so than ever to get you there. Their bullpen is not good enough to carry them. It's already been overworked to an extent. Ask the Angels about that. They've overworked their bullpen as well. They're fortunate to get out to this good start. The bats have just been red hot as far as the Angels are concerned, but I really like what Kemp has been doing.
What you got to get rid of is what you say.
I think so. It's going to be interesting to see if the front office with the Dodgers, if they're thinking along those lines. And obviously we're still in April here. It's still just the first couple weeks of the season. But as we move along into May, into June, do they start thinking if Kemp continues to swing the bat really well on a consistent basis, is this a guy that maybe we can move in exchange for a second-tier starter in the rotation? I think they have to think that way. This roster is just not quite good enough, in my opinion. In the rotation, it's just not good enough. They're gonna get healthy. I still believe that the bats are gonna get rolling at some point. Once you get Turner back, once Forsythe comes back eventually, once you get Corey Seager, guys like Cody Bellinger really heated up and in somewhat of a consistent rhythm, they're gonna swing the bats well. They're just too talented in that phase of the game to not be able to do that throughout a whole course of the season. But again, it's the pitching. They're going to need another arm or two. You can't continue to ask Kershaw
to save you.
Exactly. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
It's going to be worn out by the end of, before playoffs. If they get to that point,
no question.
By mid-season, he'll probably be done. So yeah, I mean, you have a point, and that makes me go back to what we were saying about Ohtani over there with the Angels. Is that working in but slower, do you let him go? You definitely at this point you let him go. Like you said before, he has really earned, even though it's just been a couple starts and a couple plate appearances, he's already proven that he can swing the bat at the major league level. He's already proven that he's got the arsenal of pitches to pitch at this level and be successful. I mean, hell, he's on his way to doing something that the last player to do it was Babe Ruth. That's true.
Hit 10 home runs and have at least 10 wins on the pitching mound. So it's very rare territory.
Yeah.
I jokingly said when we interviewed Mark Gooby from Fox Sports in spring training that this is somewhat of a modern-day Babe Ruth. He's making that somewhat of a reality so far.
That's true. I mean, hey, you got to – I don't know. On top of that, they're just getting international press is insane with this guy. His following is just incredible. So, and it makes people want to, it makes the other players on the team step up their game as well. When you have somebody at that type of caliber player on your team, how like you have like that. He's like, you have like that Kobe Bryant, or you have that LeBron James, so to speak, or that Kevin Durant.
Yes,
it just makes you play better, and I think that's what it is. They, I think. Don't get me wrong. They had a great, they got some great players over there at the Angels, but somebody at that caliber, Ohtani, is just a special player, and he just makes you step up, and I think that's why they're doing that. So we'll see what happens. I think it'll be a great addition to the team, and we'll see what I hope things will work out. So
it's 3-0 right now. Boston on top of the Angels. And by the way, you can also download the official Behind the Mic app on your smartphone. We're available for download. A lot of our friends have downloaded the app. And it's the best way to listen to the show, honestly.
It absolutely is.
As we start to mingle in here with the crowd at Patrcik Molloy's.
Yeah.
Behind the Mic app, that is the best place to listen to the show on the go, officially.
Yeah.
So, again, as we're mixing in with the locals here.
Exactly.
It's a great spot.
It's a great addition.
Best spot in Hermosa Beach, right?
Yep.
Best spot in Hermosa Beach? Would you say? Yeah. That's what right?
Happy hour used to be till 8. They cut it to 7 now. So
they cut it back a little bit.
that part, but other than that,
so you got to get here even earlier then.
Yeah, I mean, you want it to last, of course.
You're a fan. What fan? What do you like? Baseball, basketball?
I follow soccer, basketball, baseball, and football. Those are my 4.
Love it. The big ones.
The big ones. I mean, but I follow them enough to know enough about all of them, so that I don't sound like a dumbass talking about them.
Are you a Dodger fan?
I'm a Dodger fan, yes.
Boys in blue in action tonight, man, against San Diego.
See, I mean,
they're trying.
They're
I can't believe
they're
they have not won a
up.
series yet this year. They haven't won a series yet. What's going on?
I'm not worried till like July, August, till we need to worry, right?
Spoken like a true fan.
Everybody's. I mean, maybe so, but we've all seen somebody start off hot and then cool off at the end of the year. And
that's true. You want to be playing your best at the end.
So I mean, we got to give them time to gel and see what's going on.
Brad had just mentioned in terms of the pitching, and we were saying that they need to get another pitcher in there, and it's just not in the rotation. Do you agree with that?
Yes, personally, me when Verlander was available last year, I wanted him. I figured we have the money for it. We could take up that cap. We could bring him in here and really do some damage. Rich Hill can be good every now and then, but he's spotty. His first 2 innings are always kind of, so-so, and if we can't retaliate or come back from his first 2 innings, then we're toast. And we need somebody that can come in and consistently strike people out and get these outs and keep us in the game.
Kershaw can only do so much, right? You need a solid number 2 behind him.
He can't do it all the time. I mean, nobody's superhuman. Kershaw included, and he's human. He has human nights sometimes, and we got to be able to make up for Kershaw too.
There's no question about it. No question about it. Like I said, a good medicine for that is the Padres, who have not played so well. They got to win tonight. They're up 2-0 right now in the 4th.
We're up 1-0,
threatening for more.
So hopefully this is the first series of the season, and we get it rolling.
It jumpstarts them. We'll see. They got to start doing it now because, like I said, the injuries are piling up. They got to fight through this period.
Well, we can say this: the fans are on the same page as you, Brad. They definitely know what you. They're definitely with you on that one right there. So
I got the pulse of the fans.
Yeah, you do. You do. What's your name?
Alexis. My name is Alexis. From Hawthorne, California. Local. I'm a local around here.
Alexis from Hawthorne.
Oh yeah. Well, he can put some great insight on that. So just a topic we're talking about, and he had some great insight on that. I like that.
I love it. Good stuff. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Can I say shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles for winning the Super Bowl?
Oh,
okay.
It's funny.
I can't say I'm a Rams fan because they only came last year. I had my team already. And
okay.
This was our year, so.
I've seen a lot of Eagles fans out here, Keith.
All of a sudden, though. All of a sudden.
Oh, of course. Since
the
Super Bowl, things have changed a little bit now.
All of a sudden, I go places here and people know the chants. I'm like, how long you really been a fan for, though? I'm
right.
at that point right now.
All right. Well, they got an Eagles fan here. We got Eagles fans here. We got all kind of. That's what you go do when you come here, Patrcik Molloy. You're gonna find all kind of people, all kind of fans here.
You don't know who you're gonna run into.
Absolutely.
Alexis from Hawthorne.
Hawthorne.
Here on Behind the Mic.
Catch you guys later. Listen to Behind the Mic with Brad Dalius.
There we go. He pronounced it pretty good, actually. Not bad on the first try.
Take care.
Not bad.
Yeah.
So, we have some other people, too, coming over.
We got some other people coming.
Yeah,
okay.
I know, exactly.
What is your name?
Allie.
Allie, where are you from?
Jersey. I'm Natalie from Detroit.
So, very out of town.
Although now we live here.
Oh, okay. So we talk sports. So who's just
talking about sports? Capitals.
Oh, you a Capitals fan?
No, I'm a Ranger fan.
Okay.
Oh, that's a sore subject.
Let's go Vegas.
So she's jumping on the Knights bandwagon, kind of like someone else we know.
I was just at the game on Sunday, and I was rooting for Vegas, and we ended up winning. So
at Staples?
Let's do a sweep. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Why not?
Keith,
it's their first playoff, and they're about to sweep the Kings.
A team of destiny. There's no doubt. They've looked really good. Great goalie.
Go Red Wings.
Detroit fan. Well, Detroit. They have enough cups to talk for a long time.
Where are you guys from?
I'm born and raised. I'm from LA, so I'm from LA.
I'm from Pennsylvania, outside of Philly.
Yeah.
Monco, Chesco, Delco, which one?
Reading, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
More inland.
I actually have a bridal shower there on Sunday.
No way.
Yeah.
This is a small world.
Unfortunately, I went to Penn State.
Okay, nice.
Oh, Penn State. We just talked about Penn State.
We are. Cheers. We are.
Penn State, absolutely.
And then I moved to Philly. And
Okay.
then I lived in Rittenhouse.
Nice.
Go
so all around.
Owls. Go Temple.
She's a fan of everybody. I love it.
All the shout-outs.
I love it.
But that's good. I think we were talking about the Vegas the Golden Knights what we were talking about yesterday.
A lot. Actually, they've just been, it's been, like I said, it's like a magical run for them. They might be destined to win the whole thing this year. We'll see.
Yeah. So we'll definitely see what happens with them. But, it's good to have fans like that. So.
That's me.
That's Brad.
Mike named after you.
This is the show, Brad.
That is my show. Yes, it is my show. Last time I checked. We've been doing this show since last August, actually. We go around to different sports bars. This is our first night actually here. First
in Hermosa?
time. Yeah, first time in Hermosa.
Ah.
Wednesday nights we're in Grunyon's Sports Bar on Sepulveda in Manhattan Beach. It's a sports bar.
What's it called?
Grunyon's Sports Bar and Grill.
On Sepulveda. Okay, so
You got it.
I wouldn't know it.
Yeah, and then there's a sports bar called...
Downtown to the pier.
Yeah.
So, like Sharks Cove is a big sports bar.
Sharks Cove is a big one.
We were around there all the
Keith was
time.
just there, actually, the other day.
Yep, I was there. Shout out to Tommy Lauren. We were hanging out. So
we make our way around the South Bay.
Okay, so you're just South Bay.
South Bay. Although we talk all sports. We talk everything.
New York Yankees.
Oh, a Yankees fan.
Hold on. Let's recap here.
It's coming out. Saquon Barkley, #1 draft pick. Just kidding. We're going to the Giants.
She was probably listening last week.
To the Giants.
I agree with you with that.
I said the exact same
thing. Browns. Because the Browns already got a wide receiver from like a I don't know who it is. But Saquon is going to the Giants, and we're taking it.
Hey, Brad.
He's got real knocked up.
Oh, we don't want to take it. We'll take that out. No, but look, we talked about that before about Saquon Barkley.
We did. He should be he's the best player in the draft.
He's the best player in the draft. He should be with the Giants, of course.
Healthy.
Yeah, if he stays healthy. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. I think she's got some great insight on that. So hopefully it happens.
Clearly. Just to recap, she's a fan of apparently Temple, the Golden Knights,
yes,
Penn State.
Yeah.
We know he's an Eagles fan.
Yeah.
What else? Rangers. She's a Yankees fan. What a combo.
Yeah.
You know what the problem with the Eagles fans are? Is like, you guys are so bad at every single sport, but you win one sport, and you think you're really good at everything.
Yeah, well, they've moved up from coach to first class, obviously.
Yeah.
Get screwed by Pittsburgh. You're about to be screwed by Pittsburgh.
Yeah, the Penguins have... that's a pretty good franchise they got there in Pittsburgh.
Going to win the Stanley Cup. It's going to be Pittsburgh. This is the Final Four. Pittsburgh, Nashville, Tampa Bay, and Vegas. 4. Hold it down. Mark it down.
Lock it in.
Well, lock it in. Well, that's what happens when you come over here to Patrcik. You're going to have a bunch of fans. They're going to go at each other all night. It's great.
I love it, though. This is
live.
Yes,
it is live. No, you didn't. You're fine.
Good. We don't have any type of rules to.
Yeah.
We're not being regulated.
No, we're not. We're not. But it's great to have you guys here to talk to us about sports.
Those two continue to go out.
Yes.
A very interesting combo, like I said, though, Keith. I never really have come across a Temple, Penn State, Yankees, Rangers, Knights fan. That's a crazy combination.
I only like the Knights when they were playing the Kings. I don't usually like the Knights.
Oh, so you just don't like the Kings.
I don't really like Temple, but I only like them for March Madness when we were good. But now Penn State won the NIT, so we're like coming up. I mean, NIT really doesn't count for anything, but I really do count it.
It counts. It counts.
So she's a bit of a bandwagon fan, but that's okay. We won't hold it against her.
Don't watch the Paterno movie. It is rude.
We actually talked about that a little bit. We talked about that last week.
The ending looks like, the phone call that she gets is like 1976 is when he... But, like, that makes it look like Paterno's really bad. But, like, I just...
It's long story short, that's a very sore subject for me, as Keith and I have talked about before. And we could spend...
We are a cult, and I am proud of it.
We could spend a 4-hour show plus on Penn State.
He's a huge Penn State fan as well.
Yes, been to many games. Many, many games.
So
4 years of my life.
Well, that's great. What you major in?
I'm a speech pathologist.
I can see.
Very fancy.
Very fancy.
I work with patients with brain injury and strokes.
That's great. That's great. That's great. Well,
my sister worked for ESPN, and she was a PA. So that's how I got into all the sports for the NBA. And my best friend works for the NBA.
Well, she knows her sports right now.
She does. Tell you what, we're going to take our second break here and Behind the Mic. We'll come back and we'll continue with the NBA playoff talk because there's a lot of the stuff I want to touch on. Plus, we have to get an NFL news as well.
Of course.
Behind the Mic, live from Patrcik Molloy's here in Hermosa Beach. Coming back for more after this.
What are you doing? Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cold time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
We're here early before they wake up. We stay late. We stay informed. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
We do this not because it's our job, but because this is about our veterans' lives. This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
Everybody buckle up. Buckle up.
Let's go.
Buckle up.
Can we go to the store? Mom, can we get some ice cream?
Everybody, buckle up.
A lot goes on in the car, but you're in control. So only move when you hear the click that says they're buckled in. Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every 17 minutes, Make-A-Wish makes the impossible possible. They tame dragons. They bring Saturn to Earth. They help superheroes save entire cities. They even make unicorns fly. All to give children the strength they need to fight their critical illnesses. Every wish takes muscle. Help us make sure every wish comes true. Join us at wish.org.
I'm more resourceful than I thought.
My suit can still make an impression.
My video games are still game changers.
And my lamp can bring others a bright future.
Because when I donate my stuff to Goodwill,
it helps fund job placement and training for people right in my community.
Now my stuff gets a second chance.
And will give someone in my community
a second chance too.
Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. That's goodwill.org. This message brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
This is Behind the Mic with Brad Dalius.
That's playing right now, and then go point. That should be it.
Welcome back to Behind the Mic. We are live once again here from Patrcik Molloy's in Hermosa Beach, making a lot of new friends tonight, Keith.
Oh yeah, I mean it was pretty intense in here for a minute.
It really was. Hanging with the locals, getting to know the crowd here for our first show at Patrcik Molloy's. Like I said, don't forget, it's Taco Tuesday every single Tuesday here. You can mix and match, whether it's chicken, fish, carnitas, or steak tacos. Whatever you'd like, you can do it. Also, only $20 Corona or Pacifico buckets. You can't beat that. And half off all tequilas here at Patrcik Molloy's. Let's get back to some NBA talk now. We didn't really touch too much on New Orleans, Portland. We talked about Anthony Davis a bit and how great he's been for them.
Yeah.
And just imagine if Boogie Cousins was healthy. It kind of goes without saying with this point how good this team would even be more so. Sprinkle in Drew Holiday. He's been playing well for the Pelicans as well. I mentioned before, it's great that a franchise like New Orleans is getting this type of exposure and this type of success. They were able to win Game 1. They were the first road team to win here in the NBA playoffs. Can they sustain it?
Yeah. I mean, hey, they can. Right now they're containing Damian Lillard. I think that's their main focus. He's only had 4 points. He's in there for 16 minutes. He's 2 for 6 for the field. He's 0 for 2 for the 3. He has 1 rebound. He has 3 assists. Now, that's not saying you can't count on Damian. He's always going to show up at the time. It's 41-40 right now is what I'm looking at. Yeah, so when you look at that, they're doing a great job of containing Damian Lillard, and that's what you have to do. And it goes back to what you were saying earlier in terms of who would be a great addition over there in Portland, and you have mentioned Kawhi Leonard, because really after Damian Lillard, everything kind of just stops, So it's great to look. New Orleans Pelicans is going to be a tough team, a tough out. Can this series go all the way to 7? I believe so. Will it? I think so. I still think tonight. I think Portland wins this game tonight. I think it's early. You're still in the second quarter right now, and it's just a matter of time. Damian Lillard's just going to go off. So they haven't made their real true run yet, but it's a very close game right now. But we'll see what happens. I definitely think New Orleans, the Pelicans, can pull it out and move on. It will be a different story if they did have DeMarcus Cousins, but that's not the case. But it can go Game 7.
Drew Holiday leads New Orleans in scoring so far in this one. He's got 14 on 7 of 10 shooting. Damian Miller's got 5 points for him on 2 of 3 shooting. And talking about really good shooting percentages from the field, talking about Dwayne Wade as well, I don't want to forget about him and what Miami did last night in Philadelphia. So impressed with how down the stretch when the lead shrunk, and I tweeted about this, it was a classic example of a veteran-type team who didn't panic when the lead shrunk. They stayed with it. They stayed the course. Philly made their run, but they were able to knock down shots towards the end of the game. And this is not a world-beater type of Miami Heat team. We all know that.
Well, you know why? Because the ball was in Dwayne Wade's hands. And the team leans on Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade's been there. He's a two-time NBA champion. He's MVP. He's been MVP in the finals before, so he knows what he's doing. He's been there. He's been there before, and they lean on him. I mean, that's one thing about him. You saw vintage Dwayne Wade last night. From the first half and then towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
He started the game out. That's what he's supposed to do at his age right now. He started the game out. It was a flashback of Dwayne Wade when he was with Shaq and Posey and all those guys, and he closed it out at the end of the game. They put the ball in his hand and they say, "Take us." And he did that, and that's what Dwayne Wade does. And that's why I go back to say, when I said earlier, did Cleveland make a mistake by getting rid of him? I thought about that after that. I was just like, wow, you got rid of Dwayne Wade, where, I think I would think twice about that before just getting rid of him. You know what I mean? So,
he wanted out, though. He really wanted to go back to Miami. Miami fans were
I think it was, upset
that he left.
Really? I think he was. I really think it was. I think he wanted to finish. I think he wouldn't mind finishing out in Cleveland. But I think that started when J.R. Smith started saying things of, why am I not starting? And then Dwayne Wade was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a step back. And then people said Dwayne Wade was the problem in the locker room because LeBron James will lean more towards Dwayne and kind of distance himself from the other team because they're like best friends.
Which was, by the way, the first and only time we ever heard that Dwayne Wade was not a big-time locker room guy.
Exactly, right? And then it was, and I think it was also him having to say and saying some things like we need to step up. Him and Isaiah were both saying things, and some of the players felt like they didn't have the right to do that when they haven't been there too long. You just play. And they have to understand, like, Dwayne Wade has won championships. He's got rings, and LeBron James, the part of the reason why LeBron got rings because of Dwayne Wade, and then vice versa for Dwayne. So, when it's all said and done, look, Dwayne Wade's back in Miami. He's happy where he's at. But I just think that, it was a big mistake for the Cleveland Cavaliers to get rid of him because Dwayne Wade's a postseason player. He is going to be a problem for Philadelphia come tomorrow when they're back in Wade County. It's going to be a problem. I'm just telling you because he's good at Miami bring out the fans, and they're going to come out there. They haven't been to playoffs in a while. They're excited for this. Dwayne Wade's back, and, they have an opportunity. I still think they can upset Philadelphia,
From Philly's perspective, what do we think about the Embiid situation? He's tired of being babied. He came out and said that yesterday. This is going to be somewhat of a delicate situation here with Brett Brown and company, how they're going to handle this.
I think Joel Embiid, you got to keep your mouth shut, man.
Yeah, that's just it, right? Like, why are you talking?
Yeah, you cannot. You got to keep your mouth shut. It's not about you. And the coach did it in a professional way by saying, Joel Embiid is a passionate player. He wants to play in front of his fans. He's just passionate. But Joel, you got to keep your mouth shut. Don't be a distraction to your team. Your team is playing well right now. The series is tied 1-1. But you got to keep your mouth shut. It's a young team. It's the first time you in the playoffs, and you just got to play, man. And that's it. Philadelphia hasn't been out in the playoffs for a long time, since Allen Iverson, since the finals. That's the last time. The finals with Allen Iverson. That was the last time they were in the finals. In the playoffs.
In the finals,
in the finals. So it's been a long time, and you got to keep your mouth shut. You just got to play and let it take its course, because now if they bring you out there and if you lose, then you're going to get chastised for what you did, So I think, you just got to keep your mouth shut, keep it rolling, go with this, as you say in all his tweets and hashtag, stick with let the process, stick with the process. And that's what they got to do. That's what you got to do, So I think that's just all that does is give distractions. And you don't want to give distractions when you got someone like Dwayne Wade, you're playing against a veteran player and a coach that's won some championships on top of that. Don't Eric Spoelstra's a great coach. Don't think that they're not going to go there, that it's going to be easy to just get an easy out with them. So, that's my thing. That's my insight on it. When I saw that tweet, I said, here goes the distractions. That really is not needed.
How important is it for Markelle Fultz to get into the mix of this series for Philly to ultimately win it, and for them ultimately to make it far in these Eastern Conference playoffs? Does Fultz need to get in there?
I think so, but I think it's I think Markelle Fultz adds a different addition to the team, and he's played well. He's played okay, and they didn't play him in the second half of that game. I think you got to put him in. Look, the deepest team in the East is Philadelphia. In the East, they're the deepest. I have to say, when they put in the group of J.J. Redick, Marco Bellinelli, Colton, and then they have Ben Simmons, and then they have the other Euro guy. I forgot his name. He's a center. I think it's Spolster. Sport. I think it's Spolster. I'll look it up right now.
I will say this though:
they're a tough team. They're a tough out
when they're making their threes.
When they're making their threes, but look, let me tell you why they're tough. They move the ball extremely fast with that group, and then what you have in that, you have inside play from Ben Simmons, but you got 3-point threats all around the floor. Colton, you got Marco Bellinelli, and you got J.J. Redick. And they're a tough team to beat. And so they move the ball very fast. And actually, that's their best lineup. That's their best line. Then you bring Markel Fultz in, But now you bring the big question is this. If Joel Embiid comes back, do you start Joel Embiid?
Yes. You absolutely start him.
You have to.
Because you play to win the games.
You know what? And I look at this point.
Why not? Like at this point, the last time that there was so much buzz around this Philly 76ers team, it was like forever ago, right?
Yeah.
So at this point, you're playing for here and now in these 2018 playoffs. You're not even focusing about 2019 yet. That's what the Lakers are doing at this point. That's what a lot of other teams are doing who did not make the postseason. You're playing for right here and right now. I think it would be a mistake if Brett Brown brought him off the bench, unless, however, obviously that due to medical reasons, advisement from doctors and such, that they would prefer that he be brought off the bench. If that's not the case, play him. If he's getting a clean bill of health, absolutely start him.
Dario is his name. Dario.
Yes, okay.
Dario Saric. Well, I'll say this. It's very hard. For me, like, I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, if they're playing well, you gotta roll with the punches. They're playing well. Sometimes when you throw somebody else in there, it was like the Michael Porter Jr. situation in college.
Yeah.
And it kind of throws off the chemistry. But in this case, I mean, you paying Joel Embiid all this money. He's also been the reason why you've been there. He's probably your number one option. I think in this playoff time, you got to go with him now.
For me, it's simple. You're not going to win the Eastern Conference without Joel Embiid.
True.
So you might as well get him in there sooner versus later, because if it gets to the point where, let's say you get to an Eastern Conference Finals and you say, you know what, we're going to scrap taking him off the bench, we're just going to insert him in the lineup starting now, then you got to go through those adjustment pains maybe.
Yeah.
Might as well do it sooner versus later if there's going to be any, and get him out of the system. I'm not a big person in, putting too much stock into the fact that if an injured player is healthy, he hasn't played in a while, the team's been successful, maybe we should just ease him back. I always take the road of, let's just put him right back in there. This is the big leagues. This is the playoffs. The big bright lights are on. Like you said, this is why they're paying him. I'm always a fan of going down that route versus the other thing, because you play to win the game.
Yeah.
You go with the best players available for yourself, and I don't play, well, we have these packages here. No. Just put the best roster out there.
Yeah. Well, I have to say this. They are the best team. They're the deepest team in the East. And they have potential. This team has, to me, by him sending out a tweet like that, kind of gives us some distraction. And I think J.J. Redick and those guys have to really, and Amir Johnson, these are veteran guys, got to step in and be like, hey, you can't, just be careful what you say.
Yes.
That's when the veterans have to kick in and step and say, no matter what type of caliber of player they are compared to everybody else. Because the bottom line is they have potential to actually come out the East. Some people are picking them to come out the East.
I know.
And it's interesting to say they're probably the most talented group. But one thing about this team is what I'm thinking you're going to see about them is how they overcome adversity, or can they overcome adversity at all. And I want to see how good, to me, what's going to really tell me how good this team is, when they go into Miami, if Miami gets up 2-1, how does Philadelphia respond? Do they self-destruct and fall 3-1 and end up losing that series? Or do they come together and they play up to the way they're capable of doing and turning it right back around? That's what I want to see from Philadelphia, because we have not yet seen that yet from them.
And this is where youth versus experience comes into play.
Yes, absolutely.
A young team who hasn't been there before, although extremely talented and plenty of depth, compared to an experienced team that maybe doesn't quite have the same pop and speed as they used to, but they're intelligent, and they have players who know how to win in certain positions. A lot of times that outweighs younger talent. So you're right, it will be very, very interesting to see, depending on how this series goes in Game 3, how Game 4 would unfold at that point in time. It's 8-1 right now. Red Sox really pouring it on the Angels down in Anaheim. Dodgers and San Diego continue to play as well. Right now, currently, as I said, 8-1 Boston on top in that game. And the other games across Major League Baseball right now, there we go. 3-0 Dodgers.
Yeah,
Dodgers on top of San Diego, taking care of the Padres, as I said, in San Diego at the moment. NHL, I want to give you my NHL thoughts here for a quick hot second. Last night we saw the Ducks just get throttled by San Jose, 8-1. Yes. You can put a bow on this series, Keith. It's all over for the Ducks. There is no Disney moment, magical moment for them. No Disney Mighty Ducks at this point in time. Absolutely crushed last night. They're getting outscored 14-3 in this series, by the way. It's not even a contest.
Insane.
Kings right now taking on the Knights over at Staples.
Come
no
on,
score.
Kings. Come on, Kings. You got to win one for us.
0-0 at the end of the first period.
Win one.
They're trying to stave off elimination, obviously, down 3-0. This series has been all about taking advantage of opportunities.
Yeah.
Point and simple. It's if you think about it, each one of these games has been decided by a goal or less. One went to overtime.
It's not like this. It's like you said. It's not like this team has blown out. The Golden Knights have blown out the Kings. Every game's winnable for them.
Super close. Got to take advantage of the opportunities. They've had so many opportunities on net. They haven't been able to get a lot of goals scored because Andre Fleury has been standing on his head. And that's the difference in this series. Jonathan Quick has been good for LA. Marc-Andre Fleury has been even better for Vegas. And that's what I was talking about when we talked about this last week. The thing Vegas has going for them, why they're playing so well, it's not just Pixie Ducks and Magic, it's the goaltender.
Yeah.
What do you do when you start a team in hockey? You get the goalie.
You get the goalie.
In football, you get the quarterback.
But at one point, we had the best goalie in the league. You get what I'm saying? Like, Quick was that guy, and when we won, and now it's just, I think it's not just the goalie, though. Your goalie can stop so many pucks. So many shots at goal, you only can stop. It's the key to this series is limiting the amount of shots on goal, and that goes down to the defense of the Kings. What I've noticed is watching this series is the Golden Knights been having several shots on the goals less than what the Kings have been playing, and that's to me what it is. I mean, the goalie only can do so much,
right?
But the Kings have to have more of an offensive threat. They have to get out there and they have to get a lot more shots on goal. And hopefully we're watching tonight that they are. I mean, it's 0-0 right now. But, it leaves me a little uneasy because this kind of more favors the Golden Knights right now,
This type of game.
This is the type of game that that can get them. So they still got a lot of time left. Hopefully the Kings can come out with a win and figure this out. And weather the storm and kind of get things going, because look, they stole one. They took care of business. They took care of home advantage, but then they stole one here. And you gotta go on the road and go steal two out. Basically you gotta run the table right now. There's no more room for error. You gotta run the table.
213-261-7491. 213-261-7491. The number to jump aboard. Washington beat Columbus 3-2 earlier this evening. That one a final in double overtime. The Blue Jackets lead that series 2-1, and Winnipeg shut out Minnesota 2-0. The Jets now up 3-1 in that best of 7. You look at some of the other series that are going on right now in the Stanley Cup playoffs, first round. It's been somewhat back and forth with Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. Pittsburgh taking the upper hand last night, now up 2-1 in that series. Hockey is a sport where it's just amazing, Keith, how you can just not really watch a lot of the NHL regular season, but once the playoffs come around, you're tuned into it if you're a sports fan. Yeah. And it's amazing the level of play just intensifies that much more, the quality of play as well. So we'll keep tabs on Vegas and LA. Once again, scoreless from Staples Center right now. end of the first period. I do want to talk a little NFL news and notes at the moment because there's a couple things we got to get into. Yeah. Dez Bryant released by the Cowboys a few days ago. We really didn't talk too much about Dez recently. We talked a lot about the Cowboys during the NFL season and how disappointing the team was. Dez, this was a season that he didn't really say too much. He was relatively quiet. And I almost wonder now if he is more so just a shell of himself of a player.
Yeah.
He's got talent. We know that. At his peak, he had Hall of Fame talent. And just these different antics sometimes held him back. And I don't know if he has it anymore. I don't know.
I think he does.
I don't know.
I think he does, Brad. I think what the problem is that, Dez Bryant got hurt. And when he got hurt, Dak Prescott came in. And Dak Prescott came in and he needed somebody else to throw to. And Dez wasn't that guy. He started throwing to Jason Witten a little bit more. Then he found his rhythm with, Terrence Williams. He had other players he was throwing the ball to, spreading it out more. So when Dez got back, and, fact remains, Dez gets doubled. But he never got a rhythm with Dez Bryant. And I think that's really what it was, is he couldn't get a rhythm with Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant couldn't get a rhythm with him. And then it's the situation where, look, we're gonna get younger. We're not gonna get older. We're not gonna go this guy. So I think that's what it is. I think Dez has a good 2-3 years left in the tank.
You do?
Yes.
You think that?
I definitely do. I think Dez needs to go to a place now in this time in his career. He needs to go to a place that's going to be content with a championship, not just a mediocre team. I think when he said that I want to play the Dallas Cowboys twice a year, I think that's more your feelings being set on that. That's what I think it is. But I think what Dez needs to do is I hope he sits down and really reflects and sees, like, look, this is where I'm at in my career now, at my stage. I'm trying to win a championship. I'm trying to get a Super Bowl. I'm trying to get the opportunity like James Harrison got. James Harrison wanted to go to a contending team that's going to give him his best chance of winning a Super Bowl. He just happened to come up short with the Patriots, And I'm not saying that Dez could. I think that's an ideal place that he can go is to the New England Patriots, Dez Bryant. But I don't know if that's something he would do. But there's other places out there I think that can give him a great chance of winning. The Rams, for that factor, would be a great team to go to as well, because I think they got a young quarterback, but, some people say Green Bay. The problem is with Green Bay, to me, is you got a very unhappy Aaron Rodgers over there right now with the organization. Could that happen? Could that a Dez Bryant addition kind of like sold things, like kind of, hinder things up? Maybe so, maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe on a personal level for Aaron, but that window has closed in Green Bay. I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would accomplish what Dez wants to accomplish to continue to make quality receptions and be productive on a winning team. I think Green Bay is going to take a big step back in 2018.
So
the big problem is defense, obviously.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if he really wants to go to a team that, again, is someone on the downturn.
Totally agree. I think, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I think he has to really reflect and look at. Are you after Super Bowl rings? Or are you after the Dallas Cowboys?
I think he needs to clarify that.
And that's what I think he needs. Yeah, and that's what he needs to look at himself and think, like, what do you want? Because it probably leaves sour grapes in your mouth that you're leaving a franchise that you probably wanted to stay with your whole career.
Yep.
But these times things come and go. Everybody is a state. Just ask James Harrison. James Harrison was with the Pittsburgh Steelers for years. Peyton Manning with the Colts, years with the Denver Broncos.
Easy come, easy go.
Easy goes. Things happen like that. Rumor was Bill Belichick was trying to trade Tom Brady. You know? So, I mean, that's just showing you, like, look, you're in the stage of your career where do you want to go? And I think the best bet for Dez Bryant is to go to a team that's going to contend for a Super Bowl. Bottom line. no matter if that's in the NFC or in the AFC, who's going to give you your best opportunity to win? You know, and that's where he has to really look at.
Now that he's left Dallas, absolutely, right? That would be the only thing. He's got to go to a team that he wants to win. Otherwise, I'm not sure he really has a place in the NFL. But what's he going to do? Try and just pad his stats?
So you're saying, yeah, you're right. So I mean, I'm saying he's definitely going to be playing on a team this upcoming season.
Oh yeah, he will.
Sure.
He will. What I'm saying is, I don't know if he's going to be this guy that's going to put up phenomenal stats, phenomenal catches. I don't think he's quite that player anymore. Coming off of the injury, like you said earlier,
that's why
I think he's somewhat of a shell of himself.
Well,
now, how much of that we'll have to see. Maybe it's just maybe he's just dropped off a little bit. I don't know. We haven't seen him play in a while.
Yeah, we haven't, and you have to look at that as you also got to look at what system's going to best fit him. He's not a great separation guy. He just not gonna, but he's short passes, things like that. He's be great in the end zone. That's why I think he will be great in New England because they throw a lot of short passes, and then when they get in that red zone, they got two targets they can throw to, big targets. They got Gronk and they got Dez. I think that's what you want. That's what you want in that. As well as you look at it, you go the other hand, you go to Atlanta. Atlanta got Julio Jones. They got Mohamed Sanu. You throw in a Dez Bryant in a slot situation. Now
that's a team who could really use a player like him.
Yes.
Regardless of where his skill level's at, he's still got enough in him.
Yes.
To be prolific in the red zone.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's very interesting. You bring up Atlanta. That's a team who could really use a jolt like him.
Yeah. So you can go down the list, and I think that'd be a great. Now, someone mentioned the young lady that was here mentioned the Giants for Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant's the Giants. Would not be bad, but again, how good are the Giants?
That's just it.
The question remains: is Odell Beckham going to be there or not? And
let's say that Odell is there.
Yeah.
Remember, this is not Eli Manning from 10 years ago or 5 years ago. This is the 2018 version of Eli Manning. He's not the same quarterback.
Yeah.
We all know he had zero help last year on the line, guys dropping balls, etc. But he's still not the same guy. No. He's got maybe 2 years left.
Yeah.
That's about it.
So
remember, there's only one Tom Brady.
Yeah.
That does not come along very often.
And you also remember this. Dez Bryant's a receiver. Tom Brady's a quarterback. Dez Bryant's taking more hits than Tom Brady is. I'll say this: more vicious hit than Tom Brady is.
Oh yeah.
So you gotta look at that, and I wish all the best for Dez. I think he's been a great player. He's been a great player for the NFL, and I'm hoping that he goes to a team that's contending. Because I think that's well deserving. I think he got short at the end of the stick in that a couple of years ago when they had a chance to go to the Super Bowl, and that catch, that was really a catch.
It's a catch now.
Yeah, it's a catch now, but it wasn't then. So I'm hoping he'll get another opportunities this upcoming season.
Yeah, he's a talented guy. Again, to me, it just comes down to what type of talent does he bring to the table in 2018. He could definitely help a team to an extent. We'll have to see what that is. Speaking of Brady just a moment ago, let's touch on here for the last segment of the show, Brady and Gronkowski in New England. Reports come out this week that both guys are not really going to be a big part of the Patriots' OTAs coming up. Gronkowski to start with. We know we talked with Babs from TMZ Sports recently, Keith. We got the lowdown on what's going on in New England as far as Gronk is concerned. Look, he sees himself as a guy who can make a lot of money outside of football.
Yeah.
Why does he need to keep subjecting himself to big-time blows? The things that are going through his head.
Yeah.
Why does he need to continue to lay his life on the line, sort of say, when he can be doing other things for a top dollar figure? That's what's going through his mind. I have no doubts that's been the family dialogue in his household, and there's a lot of people in his ear out here in Los Angeles specifically as well. My gut tells me is he will play in 2018. I don't think there's too much doubt about that. He's going to be on the field for New England.
Yeah.
Beyond that, though, that's up for debate. And to me, this just comes down to just leverage. of trying to get more money for the contract, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to show that I really am worth a lot more than what I'm getting paid. I can easily walk out the door and say goodbye, and you guys would have a gaping hole at the tight end position, which is true. So I think that's the deal with Gronkowski right now. If you're a Patriots fan, I don't think it's a whole lot of much to be concerned with him not taking part in OTAs. That's not going to derail these teams' opportunities and chances to make it to Super Bowl 53 next year or the AFC title game. You know what I'm talking about? The same thing goes with Brady. I mean, what is this, year 18 for Brady?
Yeah.
Year 19 coming up? He doesn't need OTAs.
No.
I mean, who could blame him, honestly?
Well, you look at it, these guys, you got to also look at this. They're thinking about this as well. Look, man, we play all the way to the end of this football season. So we're in February.
Yeah.
You know, and we play into February, and then after that, you know, we get 2 months, basically a month off, and then the rest of my body, and then you want me back in OTAs. You know, like, you know, after a while, it's no. Like, I need more money for that. Like, that's number one. Number two is I've been established in this league for a long time. We need a little bit more time off. So I get that. You know what I mean? I can totally understand that. Now, you got to look at this. There's a man named Dwayne Johnson who's a big-time actor now. Dwayne Rock Johnson, who played football. He's now one of the highest-paid actors in Hollywood. So, you know, Gronkowski is looking at himself like, I could be that person. And, you know, and that's what we're talking about in his ear.
Yes.
And that's so true. He probably could be that person.
He absolutely could. He's got that look.
He's got the
big tough guy look with the muscles and et cetera, playing those type of roles. So, I can see it.
And then who wants to go through another course of injuries? I mean, you don't want to be basically a guy who can't walk at the end of your career, football career. I mean, he's had some real big blows, some real big injuries, forearm injuries, Achilles injuries. You know, I mean, ACL injuries. You know, to the knee. You know, concussions. I mean, that all
too many to mention.
Yeah, I mean, it really takes a toll on a person. It's like, look, man, I'm going to be laying up in a hospital bed at the end of the day, you know. And on the flip side for that, I get that. Now, and there's something else that's lingering between both of them. It's the Malcolm Butler situation, and I think that leaves sour grapes in a lot of those players' mouth. I think Bill Belichick was wrong for benching Malcolm Butler for the whole entire game. I do. I think that was the same way. I believe it was cruel. I think it was wrong for a guy who has done so much for the franchise and for the program, has won Super Bowls for you, has won games for you. I don't. And a person of his magnitude, and at this stage, and you're on the main stage of a Super Bowl and they're not playing a game, I think it also puts a little bad taste in some of the players' mouth. They got a little Richard Sherman in them. Remember when Richard Sherman lost to from Pete Carroll?
Yeah.
They got a little Richard Sherman in them. They got a little sour grapes for the simple fact that they probably feel that, look, man, we didn't put our best out there, and this was the opportunity for us to win, Brady to win his 6th championship, for us to get our 6 rings or our 3 rings. I think some of those players, I'm not saying all. Now, I think some of those players, I think it does in the back of their head. I think for Brady, for one, he's at the end of his career, and that was a great opportunity to get 6 rings. I think it does put a little something in the back of his mind about that. And for Gronkowski, the same way. I think they all have a little resentment about that. A little bit. Just a little. I'm not going to say a lot. I don't think that's their ultimate decision. I think Tom Brady typically doesn't do OTAs anyway. Like, he doesn't usually. He's usually not
does.
There. Well, he does, but he does, but he's not there the whole. He doesn't really need it.
He doesn't need. Of course not.
He doesn't really need OTAs.
Not at this point.
And, you know, and just the relationship that he has with Bill Belichick right now is not the best. You know, so let's call it what it is. Maybe some time away from the team or some time from him will probably help things in a way, you know. So we'll see. You know, we know Tom Brady's going to retire a Patriot. We know that. We know Bill Belichick's going to be back with the Patriots this upcoming season at least. We know that. And
look, if we're having this conversation in September and October where these reports are still festering about the inner turmoil in the organization, where you have the feelings that are coming out now about Brady towards Belichick, from Gronkowski towards Belichick and everyone else in the team, then yeah, there's probably a bit of an issue there. I still think it's the timing of this. It's April. It's the offseason. We haven't even drafted players yet. We'll do that next week down in Dallas. Until we get to the season, once they start playing football games, I think it's going to be back to football in New England. And I don't think you'll hear too much about this. Now, I'm not somebody who feels that benching Malcolm Butler was the reason why they lost the Super Bowl. I don't. The problems in that game went beyond him. It wasn't anything that one guy. I mean, you could have had Deion Sanders back there for New England playing corner. Yeah. I still think that they would have had a hard time winning the game. Now, as far as everything else that has gone down and different players saying different things, it just depends who you talk to. Devin McCourty has said that the benching didn't come without merit. He has said that. Yeah. Other guys say it was cruel. It just depends who you talk to. I think the bottom line is we're never really going to know, Keith, what the reasoning was. There's never been a reason that was given. We're never going to know probably into, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years from now when they do one of those like ESPN 30 for 30s or something like that they do about the Patriots that will come at some point down the line when somehow this information comes out. We're never really going to know until that day comes. So I think Belichick, in his mind, he's moved on from Malcolm Butler. Malcolm Butler is now a Tennessee Titan. We know Belichick is on to 2018. That we know for sure. Once the season gets going, once they get into training camp, let's say that, you're not going to hear all this stuff anymore. You're not going to hear all this stuff. A lot of it is the Patriots have lost a lot of guys here in the offseason. They have holes they need to fill. They can still do that with the draft. They can still pick up other guys via free agency. There's two things to do that can improve their roster before next season starts. So you have a lot of that. So you have a lot of people pouncing on the opportunity while they can get it now to critique New England before the season starts and before they start doing what they usually do. Because there's been no indication that they will stop having regular season success yet at this point in time. I don't know. I'm over the Malcolm Butler thing. I really am. The Super Bowl's over. He's on a new team now. Why are we still talking about this? To me, we know we're not going to find out what really happened. There's no way of really getting to the bottom of it. I just think it's kind of a lost cause at this point.
Well, you can say it's a lost cause, but I think the bottom line, you have some players on that team that still hold resentment for it, and they're going to continue to hold resentment for it. And look, yeah, he may have moved on, but Super Bowls don't come just not just handed to you. And some of these guys are at the end of their careers. You know what I mean? I'll be honest with you. I'll even say this. I'm gonna go as far as this. I would say some of the players that left the team, I think they opt out of their contract and wanted to leave the team. I think had they won that Super Bowl, I think we wouldn't be talking about that. We wouldn't be talking. Some of these players wouldn't be leaving, like the Deion Lewises.
There definitely was somewhat of a following there in Tennessee.
Yeah, they definitely would not have gone there. And I think it has something to do with that. I really do. They're like, so after a while, they're like, look, when Bill Belichick is all about him and doing your job and do things his way, and they pretty much do everything Bill Belichick wants to do, and then wants them to do. They respect him. They have the utmost respect. And I think after a while, man, things when players start to hold a little bit more resentment when they feel like something was wrong, like a coach did something that wrong to a player, then they start to hold them like, wait a minute, we do everything for you. And for you to do that, I think this is another reason why they're like, I don't want to be a part of this. I'm not appreciated. All you're using me for is me doing things your way, and that's it. And that's the thing about the NFL. These are professional athletes. When their time's up, they can go ahead and have the option to leave if they want to. And I think that's some of these guys, I think they left because of that particular reason there. Maybe there were some other things going on in camp we never knew about, whatever.
Yeah.
But maybe some of these players felt tired of the fact that the way how things were being treated or how they were being treated. I don't know. Bill Belichick's a hell of a coach, a great coach. I'm not saying nothing about him that's bad. He's a great coach. He's a hell of a coach, probably one of the best of all time. But sometimes you got to know how to appreciate the players too. And I think that's something has something a little bit to do with it.
Well put. The debate rolls on that. We'll get into more NFL talk tomorrow night. We're going to talk about the Aaron Donald situation tomorrow night with the Rams because there's a lot to digest on that one. We'll check in with Steve Rivera from SB Nation, who covers the Rams. We'll chat with him about that and more on tomorrow night's show from Grunyon's Sports Bar and Grill over in Manhattan Beach. That will do it for tonight's show. An awesome debut broadcast from the one and only Patrcik Molloy here in Hermosa Beach. We had fun on Taco Tuesday. We'll do it again next Tuesday. Same place, same time. Thanks to everybody who listened tonight on BehindTheMicShow.com and everybody who downloaded the official Behind the Mic app. Don't forget to check out our podcast on iHeartRadio. For Keith, I'm Brad. Keep living the dream. We'll talk to you tomorrow night.